gonna let you go, Kevin Bacon. Don't run. You're not gonna run. No. Go get Kevin Bacon.
I've got it.
Don't kill him.
Cannot run me, Bacon!
I've been trying to call. I've been on my own for long enough. Maybe you can show me how to love. Maybe I'm going through withdrawals. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby. I look around and since city's cold and empty, no one's around to judge me. I can't see clearly when you're gone. I said, ooh.
Hello there, Seven Sisters, to Geek Salad episode 233.
GoBots Killed His Cousin.
I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Joe.
I'm Katherine.
And hey, Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2023, and we are back to recap all of 2022's Star Wars and Marvel original programming. I'm really excited because we had a great time last year when it was really just Marvel, and now we have both. We have Marvel, we have Star Wars. So I'm looking forward to breaking these down. Now, one thing I will say before we begin is that I did not solicit any feedback for this because to call this year's releases divisive is truly an understatement.
Just a smidge.
And
Yeah.
if you're going, Andy, whatever do you mean? All fandoms join in hands and sing songs of love and harmony.
Yeah,
We'll
Bless you. Bless you.
because Star Wars fandom is so well known for its
for being so well adjusted and accepting to new ideas.
its unity.
If you're thinking that, that means you are only dialed into our own social media and you agree with us, and that's great.
Yeah, hey, well, thank you and welcome. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna break these down. We're gonna start with the MCU, and then we're going to go into the Star Wars offerings. There was a lot this year, and this was the first year that we not only got a few series, but we also got some special presentations, which I love that we're gonna get, and we will get into those as we go through this list here. And also as we go, because we've got 5 Marvel, as we talk about these in their release order, I'm going to ask all of us here, where do you rank said series? Like we did last year.
I was agonizing about that earlier today.
Yes, I know it's tough, but all right, and let's start with the first MCU release of 2022, which was Moon Knight.
We've always managed to keep a wall between us, but something's changed. The one who controls the body's become stronger.
The reflections help, but most of the time it'll take all your willpower just to be a fly on the wall. You can't do this. Keeping me trapped in here, you have no right. My whole life, I can't go on a bloody date. I can barely keep a goldfish alive. I lost my job. It's been you. It's always been you. Eating away parts of my life like a parasite. Look, when I am done, when I have repaid my debt, I swear to you, you will never see me or hear from me again. I promise you. We wouldn't be alive if it weren't for Khonshu. And my servitude is the price that I pay. What kind of servitude? The kind that leaves me covered in blood. Yeah, well, that blood is on my hands.
So, first of all, Moon Knight is one of my all-time favorite superheroes, and it doesn't hurt that he's being played by Oscar Isaacs.
Oh no, my hetero man crush.
Yeah,
And honestly, played quite masterfully by Oscar Isaac, because he had to cover 2 separate characters.
yeah,
No,
I mean, technically 3,
yeah.
but it was really 2 for the vast, like 99% of the show.
He had to do the heavy lifting of this show.
Yeah.
Now, one would also argue that the heavy lifting of this show is having to reimagine Moon Knight in a way where he doesn't just come off as being white Batman. Because
Right.
if you go back to the origin story, if you go back to everything, he's a rich dude who gets dressed up in a single color and goes fights crime on the streets of New York.
Andy, I think rather than call him White Batman, you should call him Batman dressed in white. 'Cause otherwise,
well.
it comes off a little bit different.
Yes, exactly.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point, Mike.
White Batman. Okay.
I mean, Batman, Bruce Wayne, kind of.
He is the whitest white man that ever whited.
But it's like the show had to tell a compelling story, and it had to do it in a way where they also addressed one of my favorite aspects of the Mark Spector character is that he's in the oh god, why am I forgetting his name? Stephen with the PH.
Yep.
Stephen Grant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Having to balance the split personalities.
Well, the real strength of Moon Knight, beyond the superficial heroics of it all, is that it deals with mental illness and processing trauma without resorting to the usual tropes.
Yeah.
It handled it in a very, very mature way.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
What I really liked is the fact that when they actually revealed the origin of the whole split personality thing, it wasn't some kind of like supernatural thing or some like huge mystical thing. It was actual childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was handled very realistically. I mean, it was very well done. So,
Yeah.
which, again, for a comic book a comic book TV show, it just shows what you're capable of, what kind of storytelling you're capable of. If you just go look beyond, it's just a TV show, a TV show about a guy dressed in
Right.
in tights.
Right. Exactly. The character design was great.
Or in the case of Mr. Knight,
Yes.
a three-piece suit.
I thought that was fantastic. I really loved
I loved the Mr. Knight.
how they introduced that, because in the comic books he's more of a hard-boiled Mr. Knight is the hard-boiled detective.
Right, he's the respectable face of the
Right.
Moon Knight.
Right.
I also love the fact that they actually, rather than just being like a white outfit, it was like kind of mummy wraps.
Yes.
They tied it back into the whole Egyptian mythology thing.
Yes. Which has always been a big part of the Moon Knight character, but tends to get forgotten, especially in those early years of the comic book.
Yeah.
It really didn't. I almost feel like it didn't make a comeback until the second edition of Moon Knight came out in like the mid '80s, when they finally started like pairing him with Khonshu and giving him this, giving him the voices, and that started to evolve into the split personalities, that these different character roles that he was playing, just to get info before he became Moon Knight. All of that working into just a fractured psyche. It's just fantastic.
Mm.
I love that. Not only did I love that, I loved Ethan Hawke.
He
yeah.
was disturbing.
Yeah.
That first scene with him breaking the glass and putting it in his shoes and walking on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
And but then,
You
then
forgot
when you
about
find,
that, didn't you?
but then when you find out, or he tells you that he used to be Moon Knight's agent on Earth,
Yes.
is that used to be
His
Moon Knight's
avatar.
or Khonshu's avatar, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Hey, and I'm just happy to see F. Murray Abraham get some work
Yeah.
as the voice of Khonshu. I loved that. I loved how just indifferent and how put out he was.
Oh, great. The moron's back.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time Steven showed up, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, F. Murray Abraham did a great job.
Yeah. I honestly, my biggest gripe with this show was that it was too short. And it'll go in with Ms. Marvel as well. 6 episodes was not enough.
Oh, no.
And
That's why they're making you clamor for a second season, which you're going to get.
yeah. Yeah, because it's funny because I remember when Moon Knight was released, like critics got the first 4 episodes, which is, that's more than half of the episodes. You're like 66% of the episodes already, and they left you on that 4th episode with Mark and Steven waking up in the asylum.
Yeah.
And just like the whole thing with the hippo god.
That was so fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one a lot. I'm happy. And this was nice too because it was one of those things that I really didn't know what to expect from it. I didn't know how good it was going to be. And as I mentioned, it's one of my favorite superheroes. So just I enjoyed seeing that they did him justice. So where would you rank Moon Knight in these 5?
For me, it's my number 3.
Okay.
Wait. In these 5.
In the 5, because I'm including the special presentations.
Okay. Yeah. I'm putting it at number 3.
Okay.
I'm putting it at number 1 for me.
Okay. That's
just because of the emotional weight behind it.
Yeah.
And just honestly, just the work that Oscar Isaac put into it as an actor.
Yeah.
To give Steven his own distinct personality that they're both the same guy, but when Steven falls off the boat in the Field of Dreams, that is an emotional gut. You don't want Steven to disappear.
Yeah,
right.
And the duet.
And it's like but it's the same guy, but he gave it he has his own person. He was his own person. And it's just like, and for Oscar Isaac to put in that kind of work and effort to make that distinction is just, that's why it's number 1 for me.
Okay. Awesome.
It's number 3 for me because I agree with you completely, Joe. I love Oscar Isaac's role in this. I thought he did a fantastic job. I think in this case, like one more episode to just kind of make it so the finale didn't feel as rushed.
Yeah, I will say kind of like the last half of episode 5 and episode 6 were kind of rushed through because like, okay, we got to finish this. We got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But but the lead up to it was fantastic.
Spot on. Yeah.
Okay. Katherine.
I have it as 3 as well because it was excellent, and ranking these things is very difficult, but there were other things that I personally vibed with more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I can speak for all of us when I say I don't hate any of these ones.
No, there is not a clunker in this bunch.
No, it's like that discussion we have when what are our top 5 MCU movies? Where do we rank them? Because they're all good, but it's like, okay, well, maybe this one spoke to me a little bit more than that one.
Yeah,
and
it's
also,
a matter of inches.
Yeah, it's a matter of inches, and it's also like, maybe if you come back to me in a couple of years, I'll rank them differently.
Yeah. Yeah. So for myself, I'm actually ranking this number 4 for that very reason. There's not a clunker in here, but in terms of what stuck with me, the 3 at the top really resonated with me more, and I found more enjoyment out of them. And again, Mike, to your point, another episode, maybe 2. I don't get why they can't do 9 episodes. They've done it for other shows. They could have done it for this one.
I think 9 might have been too much, but like maybe 7 I think would have been a nice one. Would have helped add an extra 45 minutes, just kind of allow the climax to take it a little bit more time.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, let's move on to the very next Marvel TV show, which is Ms. Marvel.
I have an announcement to make.
I asked you for getting that
just-
con monkey. What? Oh, okay.
Actually, first, an apology for not making this announcement sooner, and also for what happened at the wedding. I'm so sorry. And for sneaking out to AvengerCon. Yeah, no, okay. Okay. I am the light girl.
You're what?
Nightlight.
Oh my god! I had no idea!
Oh, Toba.
You told them already?
But Kamala, I only told Abu. Really?
What are you implying?
In classic con gossip train, you tell Umni, she tells Abu, and we over here because he always has his phone on speaker.
Speaker is the problem.
Speaker is just very convenient.
It makes sense.
That was fun.
This was a fun. This was a lot of joy.
Yes. I found that more than rooting for the character of Ms. Marvel, I was rooting for Iman Vellani because I feel
absolutely.
like she's the heart and soul of this show, and it brought me joy to watch this kid live her dream.
Yeah, she is as big a fan, if not bigger, than all the rest of us, and she actually got to do something with it, which is
she's living the dream that we all she's living the dream that we all have.
Yeah.
And
I
also
don't begrudge her at all.
Yeah.
I wish her nothing but luck.
Being the first Muslim superhero in Marvel that is like legitimately like identifies, it's part of her identity. It's part of who she is. It really it paid off really nicely. There's a lot of great nods in here, and I think for me, I wasn't as crazy about the story as I was for Moon Knight. This is also 6 episodes, and a lot of it's just like, oh, are we still doing this? Why are we back to this thing? What stood out to me though was the way it was filmed. A lot of the ways that they projected text messaging. She was having conversations with Bruno, and the way that they did it, how that was projected within the backgrounds of everything. I loved that. I thought that was really a clever.
It was clever in the sense that
drawing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was clever in the sense that you got a kind of a view into a teenager's kind of mindset without feeling like it was pandering in a way. It's like you didn't feel out of place,
right?
For us as adult, as nearly 50-year-old adults seeing this from a kid's perspective.
Yeah.
Not only is she just a teenager, but also even like Iman Vellani is a huge fangirl, but Kamala Khan is also a huge fangirl.
Yeah, right.
But for another aspect that I really appreciated about the show was that it gave us a look into another culture without falling into stereotypes and without making you feel like you're almost like at a zoo or anything like that. It's like you were invited into seeing this culture for what it really is. So it doesn't, without making it feel alien. If that makes sense.
Joe, that is a great way of putting it. Sorry, Katherine, go ahead.
One of my coworkers, one of my friends from work really said that this is what it is. She felt like watching the show that it was very much like what it is growing up in America as a Muslim.
Yeah. Especially post 9/11. And they do address that. And they address it really, really well. That they're always feeling like that they're always going to be the first people of suspicion. The mosques are always the first place to get searched when there's a disturbance.
Yeah, and there's that, and I think also because she grew up as a woman, that her side of that there's even more to it than we think about in that respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, she really identified with the show, so I was like, okay, we are watching this because I want to know more.
Yeah.
And
I
it was
liked about
really
it, too.
cool to see that and experience it and understand that it was, to somebody who grew up like this felt true.
Right.
And also,
Yep.
the whole where India gaining independence and then pushing all the Muslims into Pakistan. I think I learned more about that from this show than I've ever learned anywhere else.
Yep.
That was just like some bullshit thing that the UK decided to do to them.
Yeah.
It's like, we are going to divide you now and you have to go. Yeah. That became I definitely heard ads for podcasts of people. It's like, I never knew this was a thing, but it happened to my grandmother. So I'm going to do a podcast about it.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me back when the Watchmen series was on. And it's like most people learned about the Tulsa Massacre from
because
Watchmen.
of that show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay. But what I liked about Ms. Marvel was that because the writing was written by Pakistani writers, it didn't feel like that big festival that they had, that post-holidays festival that they had, didn't feel like it was written by 5 white males in a in a writer's room somewhere. It felt, to Joe's point, it didn't feel like you were at a zoo. This felt authentic. You're watching characters and you're watching the interactions within these characters and how just familiar everybody is with each other, because it's all their it's a big community.
It's a community, right? It's it's community and family.
Yeah.
And that's I think one of the real strengths of this episode of this show is the fact that the Khan family felt like a family. They had the older brother and Kamala having the little, back and forth. The parents were really protective, but you could feel their love for Kamala, and it was so beautiful. Especially towards the last couple of episodes.
Oh yeah.
When she kind of revealed that she was super powered and
right. It was because of her. Yeah, because it was from her grandmother and stuff like that. I mean, they did such a good job of just tying everything together.
Oh, and the scene where she reveals it all, and the father and brother are overreacting. It's like, you already told them. Yeah, well, I told your father, and then they overheard because they're on speakerphone. Speakerphone is so nice. Isn't it? It's like that felt like a real family conversation.
It did.
Yeah,
it did. I loved this, and I love too. Hopefully not spoiling too much for anybody who has not yet watched this great series.
Why haven't you watched it?
Made me want to watch the Marvels so much more.
Oh, I'm desperate for the Marvels.
Desperate, yeah.
Yep. So looking forward to it.
And in the comic, because I haven't read much Miss Marvel comics, but the stuff I have read, I've loved.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that, well, yes, she kind of gets her name from Captain Marvel. I love the fact that this show gave it much more personal. Like, her mother gave her the suit, her father gave her name. That was such a beautiful moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
To
be fair, Carol Danvers was originally named Ms. Marvel. She didn't become Captain Marvel for a while.
Yes, I know.
Actually,
I have Avengers Annual number 10 where Rogue permanently steals his power.
And then I also have the X-Men issue where she becomes binary because she and the X-Men are out in space with the Shi'ar fighting the Brood, and she becomes binary because of all the Brood experiments that they did on her. Glasses pushed up.
Yep, that happened. And because Rogue stole her brain, she barely remembered her parents anymore.
And so on and so forth.
So, yes, Try MCU. Try making that story. So, where are we ranking this one?
This one's a number 2, easy number 2 for me.
Easy number 2. Okay.
Number 2.
Yeah, number 2 for me as well. I
should say second place.
For some reason, I didn't feel that the climax of this one was rushed as much as as Moon Knight. That whole final episode, it felt like it flowed naturally for me.
Well, the pacing on this was very well done. I think towards the end, Moon Knight did have some pacing issues where you're right, it did feel kind of rushed, but this one didn't. even when they went off to Pakistan, and you're thinking, okay, they only have a couple of episodes left. How are they going to make it work? They still managed to pace it really, really well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel like such an asshole because this is actually my number 5, and again, it has nothing to do with the overall quality of the show.
Yeah, it's not a reflection of the
show itself. But for me, a lot of it was we've established very, very early on that she is super powered, and I kind of feel like we didn't get enough of that throughout. Like I feel like there were almost times when she was just kind of like she's fighting the djinn, barely using her powers, which, by the way, I loved that effect. I loved that they, instead of having her be just super stretchy, which, in all honesty, my argument to people who are complaining about that was it's going to look gross.
Yeah.
It just is going to look gross. I don't care that you shifted her power a little bit. Quite honestly, I don't care that they made her a mutant. Because God knows they're not going to acknowledge the Inhumans again.
Not
except for Black Bolt again. So, whew. All right, ready to move on?
Yep.
All right. Next up on the MCU release list is She-Hulk, Attorney at Law.
Are we done here?
Oh, would not mind seeing Daredevil again. A woman has needs.
Historically, we've been light in that department.
Oh, well, I've got you here.
Oh, wait, you are sitting?
What's with all the daddy issues? We got Tony Stark, daddy issues.
Jen.
Thor, daddy issues. Loki, same daddy, same issues.
Oh, boy.
Star-Lord, 2 daddies, 2 issues.
Jen, please stop.
Oh, and when are we getting the X-Men?
I cannot tell you that.
Okay, back to She-Hulk. I do have some thoughts about the direction of season 2.
You will not be able to access the KEVIN again.
What?
That error on our platform has been fixed.
That's it? We're done?
That's it? You obliterated the thrilling ending Kevin formulated.
Well, yeah, that's what Hulks do. We smash things. Bruce smashes buildings, I smash fourth walls and bad endings. And sometimes Matt Murdock.
Okay, now get back to the show. See you on the big screen.
Really?
No.
This was my Halloween costume.
Oh, yes. Fantastic.
Oh, this was good. This was so good.
This show hit everything I have ever wanted in a Marvel Cinematic Universe show. It did everything I wanted Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to do 10 years ago, which is to dive deep into that C and D list of the Marvel Universe Handbook and give me all the things.
They didn't give you Thing.
No, they didn't give us the thing. They gave me the things. They gave me a lot of great stuff. I mean, we got Porcupine. We got El Aguilar.
What was that? Mr. Immortal?
What's that, Mike?
That Mr. Immortal guy?
Yeah.
We got darn it. Stop floating my head. Somebody else go.
Oh. I mean, the thing with this show was, first of all, is that it knew exactly what it wanted to be and what it needed to be.
Yeah.
And as the discourse for this show was coming around, and the discourse was very wrong-headed. I
love the fact that they actually made the negative discourse a part of the show.
Yeah. You were saying it. They also knew what they were going to be. And we're like, we're just gonna use you.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna be dicks. We're gonna use you and mock you.
Yeah. Why are you being so predictable? It's just what's funny about this was that because one of the things was this was the most inaccurate comic book show ever. Obviously, whoever wrote the show had never read a comic book, and one of the writers of She-Hulk went on Twitter and said, okay, I have written more issues of She-Hulk than any other human being on this planet. This is the most accurate depiction of this character you will ever see.
Right from breaking out of the Disney Plus menu.
Oh, God. You know what? If anybody said that they expected something like that to happen, they're full of shit. I was legitimately expecting that we were going to meet her new client and it was going to be Wade Wilson. And they're both going to talk to the camera at the same time, stop, look at each other, and then you go to the credits.
That would be great.
Well,
That would have
they
been
had to
awesome.
bring in Kevin.
That was awesome. Yeah,
That was
the point. Like when we were watching the show and we like left the story universe and went to our universe, my husband was like, nope, I don't like this kind of thing, nope. But then they pushed it further and we met Kevin, and Kevin is like, I am a robot, that is why everything is so formulaic. My husband's like, I'm back in.
Yep. And the fact that they gave Kevin a hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, his robot head had the baseball hat on.
Apparently, they really wanted Kevin Feige to actually voice him, but he said no.
Yeah. This whole show, Tatiana Maslany is phenomenal as this character.
Yeah.
And she's great because she can play it both ways. I love seeing her as Jennifer Walters. I love seeing her as She-Hulk. And it wasn't like that thing that, I hate to cast aspersion to the Batman movies, but it's almost like, just put the suit on, please. With this, I love seeing the alter ego. It's kind of like the first Iron Man movie. It's like, I want to see more Tony Stark. I kind of don't care about Iron Man. I love Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And just everything. I'll say it straight up. First off, this is my number one in the MCU. Yep. It is also my top Phase 4 production.
I thought it would be.
Nice.
This is my favorite thing out of everything post No Way Home. I love this show.
Yeah, this was amazing. It hit all the marks. It just, yeah, this spoke to me very strongly.
Yeah, and it wasn't just her. It was the fact that it wasn't the Easter eggs also, because yeah, great, we get Daredevil, and I know people are going to bitch with Daredevil, because
those reasons. Are people who have never read an actual Daredevil comic book outside of Frank Miller.
Outside of Frank Miller, exactly.
Because if they did, they know that he's a horny wise ass.
Yes. And oh boy, I mean, if you go back to the Netflix series, he was laying the pipe pretty hard.
Oh, God,
so this is like just bringing him in here. And the beauty is that she was so happy as soon as he left. Somebody posted a picture of her, like that post-coital glow. At the after he does the walk of shame, which, by the way, awesome.
It's not that was not a walk of shame. That was a walk of pride.
Yeah. But someone posted the very first frame of her when they cut back to Jen, and someone's like, "Yeah, this show speaks to me. Matt made her come."
And that's the benefit of having supernatural feelings, right?
Oh man, it was great because apart from the fact that we've built up this whole thing that Jen is looking for someone to like her for her, and not like the dude bro in that amazing Magic episode, who he was attracted to She-Hulk. And that reminds me, we got to talk about Madison.
Did you get a ticket for texting? Just say you were texting 911. They can't prosecute.
That isn't what this is, and that's not true. I just want to ask you a few questions, so if you come this way.
I would love that.
Yeah, have a seat over there.
Okay, great. This is fun.
Kuan Yin, please give us extra mercy.
You can't bring that drink in here.
Oh, you can finish it if you want. I'm not sick. I promise to tell the truth. No, seriously.
Could you state your name for the record?
Madison King. Madison is with 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not where you think.
And
what was the
Wong.
meme? What was the meme? It's amazing to me that the DCEU can't figure out how to make people care about Superman because the MCU just made us care about this drunk girl who showed up in one episode of a TV show.
That's great. Yeah, and it's also great that Charlie Cox was able to play both versions of Daredevil very believably.
Yeah,
he's a really good actor.
Oh, he's amazing.
I love Charlie Cox. I can't wait for the new Daredevil series to come out. It's going to be amazing. But Tim Roth, just doing something different with Blonsky.
How do you rehab Abomination?
Right.
I mean, seriously, you put Tim Roth, make him play most of the time as Tim Roth in the She-Hulk, a comedy. It's like, okay, and it works. Yeah. And I love that they made him a self-help guru. I mean, that was it fits so. And the thing is, Kathy, Andy, and I listened to Behind the Bastards, where they, and so you're expecting the twist. Okay, he's a self-help guru. What is the,
when is that shoe going to drop?
Where does it go wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
And it never does. It never really does. No, I saw Catherine.
I heard Kathy.
Oh no, sorry. I work with a Kathy. That's why. So, anyways,
excuse. We all look alike.
But anyways, no, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it never does.
Yeah. No, it was
right.
I was, I was expecting it when she went to the retreat.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I was expecting the other shoe to drop then, like she was going to get attacked, but instead, all those guys were just good dudes.
Yeah.
And even kind of at the end, when it looked like, oh no, he's helping all these dude bros. It's like, well, I mean, he's hosting them, but
yeah,
he's not really with them.
No, he was just doing it to get paid.
Yeah.
Makes his appearance. Yeah. And oh my God, that dude bro, by the way, the fact that he is trying to retain her services because he has stolen he has a stolen Wakandan spear. But they did point out, though, he did get the right over left arm cross for Wakanda Forever, correct?
Yeah.
So he's not a total poser. But there's just, this show is just, I can't wait to see this character again in everything. I feel this way about She-Hulk, the way I feel about Ragnarok Thor. I want to see more of this character, and I want to see them in everything.
Yep. Yeah, it was so fun. It was so right. It was done well.
Yeah.
And the haters on the internet suck.
Oh yeah, but again, the beauty is that it was so predictable because it was right there.
Yeah,
it was right there on the screen that this is how you guys are going to respond, and true to form, because they don't have another gear.
No,
they go from standing for Top Gun Maverick and James Cameron and Christopher Nolan, but the second you introduce a woman into it, it's like, oh no, and that's it. That's it. That's
or a minority.
That's the gear. That's the gear.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, or a minority. They're tedious.
Or a minority. Oh yes, exactly. And in this, there were white people in this, but not that many.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like the only comment my husband had about the twerking sequence was the fact that her butt clap didn't do damage to the building.
Right.
That was it.
Oh my God. That was the day
that should have been a Hulk clap.
The internet melted on that day as if Jennifer Walters, who in a 40-plus year history as a character in Marvel Comics, has not done something ridiculous.
And honestly, that was the episode that introduced me to Megan Thee Stallion, which I thought was a Marvel character before.
Yep. Nope.
I was like, wait, why are they treating that Megan Thee Stallion as a real person? I had to look up and oh shit, she is a real person.
Oh, yeah, she is a real person.
I thought she was a Marvel character.
She doesn't look like a horse. Did she turn into a horse? What's going on? But that was that episode with the oh God, the Asgardian shapeshifter.
Oh yeah, the elf.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that she was able to fool another dude bro into thinking that Megan Thee Stallion was into him.
I also love the lawsuit where she was like, these guys liked me because I was She-Hulk, not because I was me. And so I'm going to that was sad for me, but I can use it legally.
Yeah.
Yep. But and that's that also we never even talked about Titania.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Jamil was so great as this character
because she got so petty. She got so incredibly petty.
She got petty, and the beauty is too is that she also had her veneers knocked out at the wedding when they finally had that fight.
Yeah,
because that's essentially what Titania is in the comic books. She just shows up to harsh Jen's groove, and then they fight, and that's it. It's like there's no rhyme or reason behind it anymore. It's just like I need to prove that I can beat you.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, guys. I already said it's my number one. Where does it lay for you guys?
Number one.
Number 3 for me.
Okay.
It's my Go ahead, Joe.
No, it's just again, like Andy says, it's not a knock on the quality of the production, because I loved it. I thought it was hilarious, and I loved everything about it. But Moon Knight and Miss Marvel just kind of spoke to me on a more emotional level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my number 4 because I absolutely adored it. Oddly enough, it kind of felt a little inconsequential. Like, it was introducing all these big characters, but I'm like, I don't think I'll ever actually see them again unless they do a season 2.
Yeah. Well, they did do a good job of reintroducing them throughout the show, even though, I'll agree with you in terms of the inconsequentialness. This was way more episodic.
Yeah.
Very much self-contained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Within the greater, because this didn't have, and I'm not saying that the other ones did, but this didn't have like the world-changing stakes that most MCU that tie into the larger MCU kind of
right.
Plot line, or what's going on in the larger MCU.
Right.
This felt very much on its own. It's like, okay, yeah, there's a greater MCU, but we're kind of doing our own little thing over here in LA.
And
it was just like it's for the people on the outside looking in. I feel, especially because these are superpowered people, and the only way she could get in to get a costume was to say she was a member of the Avengers.
Right.
What about the Avengers?
The Avengers. Oh, God. I want to find that knockoff stuff so badly.
I had so much fun. Also, before we drop this one, the fact that she went to see the guy that was doing the fashion for superheroes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And she showed him the challenge, and I thought that he was just going to design stretchy clothes that would work, that would just grow with her.
Yeah.
But the fact that they made clothes that worked on either body size
I thought that was
really interesting.
That was really clever. I love that a lot because, up until that point, she was wearing the bigger suits. And also the fact that he designed Leapfrog's costume, because Leapfrog, how do you pull off this character for a full episode? And they did it so well.
Yeah.
It's just, again, there's so much about this that I've wanted for years in a Marvel series, and I got it. And it genuinely, out of all of the shows that we're going to talk about and we have talked about, this was the one that I was really sad the first week we didn't get a new episode.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, have to wait.
What do you mean What do you mean we're not getting any more?
Damn it. So, all right. Well, let's move on. We have 2 more Marvel series, but they're not series. They're actually part of the new special presentations. They're counting because they were original Disney Plus, and the first one is Werewolf by Night.
So you don't want to be like your father, then?
Careful.
I understand. It must be complicated to grow up with his family.
You have no idea about my family, none.
I don't. I can tell you my family was very different. But all families have something in common. They follow us. for good, for bad, they stay, like they become an atmosphere. And sometimes we think that by doing something very specific, we can change everything and not be like them. Sometimes they're just a pain in the ass that we have to save all the time.
I loved it. I love this.
This was, I mean, not only first introducing like this horror element to the MCU, but also the kind of feature-length directorial debut of one composer, Michael Giacchino.
Yeah.
He knocked it out of the park.
He did.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
And the thing that really stood out to me about it was the aesthetic.
Yeah.
You felt like you were watching a Universal, a classic Universal horror movie at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, on Channel 56.
Totally.
Yeah. Giacchino knew his influences and they showed.
Yeah.
And he just paid such homage to all of it. Because yes, you're right. From the credits to the introduction. And Mike, you were mentioning it's Marvel's first dip into horror, because there is that aspect of the Marvel universe. And we're just getting this wide expanse of everything other than just like Caped Crusaders. We're getting monsters now.
Yep.
And I as much as I sing the praises of Michael Giacchino, rightly so, but Gail Garcia Bernal and Laura Donnelly were so fantastic.
Oh, and the way they the way they introduced Man Thing was just awesome.
I had to tell my daughter. My daughter didn't believe me that was a puppet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ted is a puppet. It is a practical puppet with a couple of CG enhancements around the eyes and the snout.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the fact that they did utilize mostly practical effects.
Practical effects. Oh yeah.
So fantastic.
Even with the transformation was primarily done in shadow.
Yeah.
But again, it's all part of the aesthetic of making it look like a 50s horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's interesting too is, and I mentioned this to a friend of mine who had just, they were in the middle of watching Andor, and they had just finished Werewolf by Night, and I was like, yeah, the Y2 Mama Tambien boys are really having a moment right now.
Yes, they are.
Because I'm a film nerd. I will say also, I love Laura Donnelly. I have seen her. She has shown up in so much of my television lately. And it was great to see her as Elsa Bloodstone. I like that she's more subdued than like the comic book Elsa Bloodstone. She definitely, I love the don't give a shit attitude that she's portraying in it. But
I mistook her for Kristen Ritter.
I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah.
But I was so just won over by every aspect of this, and it's a tight 46 minutes.
And the fact that the only thing that's colorized is the Bloodstone until the very end.
Yeah.
And the way that just the color shifts in. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just, as the introduction to the special presentations, I want so many more of these. I want one every Halloween now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows that you can do a one-off, and pull it off.
Yeah.
You don't have to do a series or a big movie. You can just do these little stories, these little self-contained stories, and make it work.
Right.
Absolutely.
And they might, you never know, they might intersect, because this was, it was hard to tell when it took place. And then it's just kind of like, yeah, it does take place within the greater scope. It's a modern day post-snap story.
And that, I think that ambiguity just kind of lends itself to, you could really kind of utilize these characters anywhere, because you don't know when they were introduced.
Right. Well, the thing is, I lost myself in the aesthetic, which
Yeah.
was a really nice thing. I felt like it told the story really nicely. But because there are the Marvel monsters, and we can see more Elsa Bloodstone, especially as they introduce Blade into this. We're gonna see more of this. I wouldn't mind seeing more characters. I'd love to see even Vermin. I'd like to see him as a villain at some point. Just these gutter dwelling creatures. I mean, hell, you could get the Mole Man in one of these, right?
Sure.
Why
Well, they're never going to use him for Fantastic Four movies, so.
He already signed on to the Incredibles. He is the Underminer.
So where are we putting this one on our lists?
I mean, this one's number 4 for me.
Okay.
And it ranks higher than Guardians because I honestly have not watched the Guardians special yet.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Joe, I've watched it enough for the both of us.
I have World Finite at number 4. Again, it's like, yeah, sure. We have to. You're having us rate these, but like, let's have you rate your wife and children.
Right. Mike?
It's my number 1.
It's your number 1. Okay.
Yeah, which is odd because I'm not a big horror guy, but it's just everything about this one just kind of clicked.
And I felt that, Mike, when we were talking about it earlier, that this really stuck with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that they made Man-Thing lovable. I mean, Ted. Yeah, he's just call him Ted.
Yeah.
I mean, in the comics, Man-Thing is kind of like a mindless brute, just like whoever knows fear will burn at the touch of Man-Thing, and
yep.
And here, no, he's Ted.
He's Ted.
He's Jack's best friend.
Yeah. Take that,
Right,
DCEU. We beat you with Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact that he has a pre-existing relationship with Jack, who basically spends his life looking out for him.
Yeah.
And getting him and saving him for even though Man-Thing is this super powerful being, it's Jack that has to go in and save him.
Right.
And then they have sushi.
Yeah. And
Jack's name is Jack Russell.
Yeah.
And when Jack wakes up from being a werewolf, it's Ted who's sitting there making him a cup of coffee by the campfire.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's so perfect. It really is just so perfect. This is my number 2. And a lot of it is more because I was so won over by the aesthetic. And again, it's not a knock on the ones below it, but I think it benefited from being a special presentation. It was the storytelling was as tight as a drum, and I loved that about it.
And I also love the fact that by sticking with the black and white aesthetic, they could get away with a lot more violence than they would normally.
Yep, I think.
Because a lot of it,
werewolf and just ripping people apart.
Right, but a lot of it was like done in the shadows.
Yeah.
Old school horror movies. Like it's implied and shown in the shadows. It's not actually, It's like one of the criticisms I have of modern horror movies is I don't need to see all the gore. Right. I'm more scared by tension and not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
In imagination, like you can imagine better gore. You've nightmared better gore than they can do on TV.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Well, and that brings me back to an argument that I had with somebody about Falcon and the Winter Soldier last year about like the whole thing with John Walker, like killing that guy with his shield. And the guy was complaining that, well, they didn't, if they really had balls, they would have shown it.
They don't need to show it. They just need to show They just need to show the after effect.
Yeah.
And it's more powerful to see the after effect and the people's reactions around it.
Yeah.
Because that shield is supposed to symbolize something. And to see it defiled the way, to see the people's reaction to having it defiled, it's like, that's more powerful than seeing it actually go through somebody's head.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Are we supposed to be getting some hardcore pornography in these shows at some point too, or else they don't, they're not going all the way in?
Wait.
Well, again,
Yeah, it's like The Walking,
is that
the
a
Walking
possibility?
Dead, where they were like knocked somebody's eyeball out, and it's just like it didn't do it well, so it looks fake and it takes me out of the moment. It's like,
Yeah.
Well,
if you get extreme violence, it's just, ugh.
It's one of those things that people just don't have. Modern audiences don't have media literacy.
Right.
They don't understand the basics of modern storytelling.
Yeah.
Right.
They want everything handed to them, and they don't understand that.
Right.
Sometimes you have to imagine things. You can't just have everything handed to you.
Yeah.
I just hope
Mike's like, that's great. Are we going back to the hardcore pornography now?
I mean, if that's on the table, sure. But I honestly,
it was like it hasn't even been 6 months since we talked about Leisure Suit Larry. So okay.
Oh yeah.
But
the 6 month limit's done now.
My final thoughts on this one, though, is that I just hope this leads to Michael Giacchino getting more and better things, because he's shown he's got the chops.
Yeah. And, quite honestly, I would love to see Star Wars take this approach as well. I'd love to see Lucas Studios be able to take this approach with just that 45-minute short. Michael Giacchino's already in that wheelhouse, so I would love to see that be a thing. So, nice. All right, we have one more, and that is the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Wait!
What?
I left my little funny man back in the house.
What?
I want to go back and get him.
But Kevin Bacon is gonna get away.
But you still have your swirly red and white curly man.
How can you possibly think this is a man?
What is it?
I don't know. A shape?
Well, how is it fair you get to keep it and I don't?
Because I was responsible and held on to it. Drax, do you love Peter and want to save Christmas? Or do you want a little funny man?
A little funny man.
No!
That was fun.
I had a great time with this one. The Guardians movies are some of my favorite Marvel movies. So I just love going back to the characters. But with this, I love the fact that we actually got more, like, we finally got to kind of get to know Mantis. Mantis has appeared in 4 or 5 movies, and she's barely done anything. And now we finally get to see her really kind of front and center.
Yeah.
And I can't give away Joe hasn't seen it, so we can't give away the big reveal. But, I had a lot. Not only did I have a lot of fun with this movie, I love, first of all, I love that we got Kevin Bacon.
That was fun.
And that, just that reveal that he's not really who Peter thinks he is.
Well, I think he is who Peter thinks he is. He's not who everyone else thinks he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the biggest takeaway from this is, because it's a James Gunn joint, is that soundtrack. It had a fantastic Christmas soundtrack.
It did. It really did, actually.
Yeah. And even that, like the credit sequence with the old 97s, doing I Don't Know What Christmas Is. It was such a great way to kick it off and bring us back into the world of the Guardians, because we haven't really seen much of them since Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And even still, they were just kind of foils to Thor at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, they were in briefly.
Yeah. So Joe can't speak to this one. I'm also a sucker for like a good Christmas show. So
I mean, I had a lot of fun with this. I think probably my biggest knock on it, though, is like the first, for a 45-minute special, like the first 30 minutes kind of felt like almost like an Abbott Costello Three Stooges kind of slapstick comedy routine.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. Trust me, I love the Three Stooges. You guys know I love the Three Stooges.
Oh yeah.
But I was just expecting something different from a Guardians of the Galaxy thing, and it was fun to watch. It felt very kind of airy and not almost inconsequential again.
Yeah.
And the last 15 minutes felt like a nice Christmas special.
Right. But you know what the thing is, though? I feel like with this, it was nice to be able to take a break from anything that ties into the bigger picture. Kind of like with Werewolf by Night. I feel like walking away from the bigger, like the road to the Kang Dynasty. Being able to just take a breath, revisit these old characters, have some fun with Drax, because we know Dave Bautista is pretty much out after 3.
Yeah. He's been
vocal.
Just
to get some great highlighting of
he's
him.
He's done with his character.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I'm 54 years old. I can't stay in shape for this character anymore. But it was fun to see him get a better showcase, to get Mantis, because she was fun in like the little pieces that they gave her Guardians 2, but watching her actually go off, especially in Kevin Bacon's house, when you can see her jumping like a cricket around Kevin Bacon's house trying to catch him.
And her dealings with the cops was fantastic.
Yeah. It was finally like they gave her something to do, and it was really nice. Oh, and Astro finally has a voice.
Who? Yeah. Cosmos.
Yeah, Cosmo. Sorry.
Cosmo.
Cosmo, what use is telekinesis if you can't even aim?
You want to do it? Do it!
Just concentrate, you stupid mutt. What?
I refuse to do any more work while you demean me.
All right. I'm sorry. Chill out.
Also, I want one of those delicious treats in that bag.
But overall, I enjoyed this one. This is my number 3, actually. And again, it's that sweet spot. I'm a sucker for the Guardians. Guardians will always show up in the top of my list. So
it's my number 5. Again, not a knock on it. I would watch this one again, but like when after I watched it, I kind of involuntarily had to compare it to Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
And I thought Werewolf by Night, it kept the same tone throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, like I said, the first half hour was like just very kind of a slapstick comedy type thing. And the last 15 minutes were more like traditional holiday special. And I liked both elements. It's just, it felt like 2 specials kind of put together.
Yeah. I agree with you. I definitely agree with that. That's why it's my number 3 and not my number 2.
Yeah.
Catherine, where are you placing this one?
I put it at number 5.
Okay. That's fair.
Because you're making me rank.
Yes, I know. Oh, who doesn't love a good rank, right?
I have to put it somewhere. That's where it went. So
yeah, okay.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Okay, editor Mike breaking in here. Unsurprisingly, covering both Marvel and Star Wars, we went along with both. So, rather than subject everyone to a 2-hour-long episode, I'm going to split it pretty much right in the middle and cover Marvel in the first part and Star Wars in the second. So, if you just want to wait around a couple days, we'll have part 2 come out pretty quickly, as it's kind of already done. So, until then, go forth and be nerdful. Talk to you later.
I said, ooh, I'm blinded by the lights. No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch.
It's just so sad. Steve Rogers did so much for his country and he never got to experience sex. Did you see that ass? Like, that ass did not deserve to die a virgin. It's like so sad.
Steve Rogers is not a virgin. He lost his virginity to a girl in 1943 on the USO tour.
Yes, I knew it.
You're not drunk?
Captain America